Hey everybody, happy 2015. It's Dr. Sara Gottfried. I'm here with Dr. Pedram Shojai. Hi Pedram.
Hello, hi everybody, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I feel like we're in resolution season, right? Everybody sort of faces 2015 and they start getting those new resolutions out, or they're the same ones from last year. And I thought it would be helpful to just talk about this process. Like, what are some ways that we can get through the beginning of 2015, maybe with a different approach?
Yeah, I love that. You know, I got a lot of opinions about this one because I think that people have really worked hard at developing a culture of proving to themselves that they're a failure with resolutions, right? How many people set resolutions and don't hit them? And so that the next year it becomes a habit. You know, you start missing resolutions year after year. Eventually you're like, oh, I'm never going to do that, so what's the point? Or I'm going to do it, but I know I'm going to fail. And it really sets up a culture of failure that I would love to speak to here, just because that doesn't have to be, and that script could be rejected and you could rewrite it, but you have to kind of elevate. You got to go up one level higher than the problem to understand why it's happening.
Oh, this is good. Okay, this is going to be really fun. And, you know, I feel like the answer is always the gong, because the gong just, you know, sidesteps this whole culture of failure that you described so aptly. But let me kick off with a little scenario. And, you know, this was maybe me 15 years ago, where I would start off the new year determined to get super fit, you know, drop my body fat and maybe shed 10 or 15 pounds, you know, gung-ho, join the gym. I'd work out, you know, 5-6 days a week, and I would be so sore. And by the end of the January, I wasn't going to the gym anymore. So what would you say to that person?
Yeah, too little too late. And why didn't that happen the year before? And going aggressive on an aggressive kind of re-patterning after being slack for too long is just going to hurt you. So willpower runs out, and attention is something that we're all really like poor in, right? We lack focus. So instead of saying, okay, what is it that I want to do? What are my goals for the next year, and how could I attain them? And what do I need to do to make that happen? And then locking that in and having a culture of saying no to all the other things that come in. We say, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And then like by the second week of January, 50 other things have come in. And because we don't hold our center, we say yes to so many things that there's no more room for the resolution that we had so committed to. And we find our plate so full that we just can't eat it. And we just can't commit to finishing what we said we're going to finish. And there we are saying, oh man, I really failed. But what you failed in was saying no to all the other things that work their way in. So for me, I think it's usually a boundaries issue and a time management issue more than anything.
That's good. I think that's certainly the case for me. You know, I think part of the problem here is folks who are people pleasers, and I would put myself into this camp, right? I'm like a recovering people pleaser, and so I say yes way too much of the time, and that process of creating habits around saying no is still, you know, kind of a work in progress for me. But I agree with you that it's the distractibility, it's the saying yes too much, and not creating the habit around whatever your resolution or goal is. Now, another thing that I think is important is, I want to go Danielle Laporte on you right now. So Danielle Laporte has been a mentor to me. She is at daniellelaporte.com, and she talks about the desire map. And I think that there's quite a bit of relevance as we talk about resolutions, because she talks about not setting goals, but instead really considering what it is you desire. Like, what is it that you want to feel in your body? So for me, maybe it's feeling more lean, or feeling like I've got more endurance or more energy, you know, really connecting to what it is you want to desire, what it is you want to feel on a daily basis. What do you want to wake up with? And I think that is a way of, you know, kind of pulling you forward, instead of that pushy, I need to drop my body fat from 25% down to 21%. You know, that I don't think that works as well as connecting to desire.
Yeah, and I think that it's really untethered with anything that's actually meaningful, right? Like, why? What is 25%? Does that, does 21%, is that the magic number where people are going to love you? Right? Like, all of that stuff goes really unquestioned, and we set these arbitrary numbers because, we feel like we ought to. And then because it's not tied with meaning, because it's not tied with our soul and our purpose, that desire is not really your heart's desire, but it's just another shoulda, woulda, coulda, ought to nonsense BS item on some list that you're trying to tick off. And that doesn't really resonate with our spirits. It doesn't resonate with our souls. And because it's not soulful, it's easy to just, excuse and walk out the door because, you know what? I've been doing this thing for like 3 weeks and I still don't feel well, and I still feel, ashamed of my this and my, insecure about that. And it just carries us away into this land of emptiness. And once we feel that, then we feel like, okay, that strategy didn't work. I need to move to another one and just race to find another one because we're always panicking because we can't find what helps.
Yeah, really good point. And here's one thought, here's one observation that I have of you, Pedram. Are you ready?
Uh-oh.
So you are one of the most extroverted, socially gifted, socially facile guys that I know. And I want to find out about your intentions at the beginning of the year and how you connect them to the people that you know. And I'll give a quick example here. What I found in previous years is that when I have accountability partners around that desire that I want in my body, going running every Sunday with my friend Joe, it helps me so much. It helps me kind of set up those habits instead of just relying on willpower. And I imagine that you take this gift that you have, this unique ability, and you also use it to support, what it is you really want to bring to the world and what it is you want to feel in your body. But I have never asked you this question before. So is that true for you?
Yeah. And I think, thanks for asking a question like that, because that to me is really fun. The essence of so the part that we didn't bring up that I think we need to is that I'm a Cancer, and I didn't really believe in astrology until it just kept proving itself right to me over and over again. And now, I don't live my life by astrology, but it's interesting to see how, my rising and my sun and my moon are very much in tune with, how I roll. And I spend a lot of time wanting to be alone. I spend a lot of time in introversion and meditation and all these types of things. And when I'm out of the shell, I'm out there, whiz bang, kind of being in the center of a room and juggling or something, right? And so I can only do the outer stuff if I've spent the time drinking from infinity, right? If I've taken care of myself and found myself. If not, I'm not myself out there. And once I feel like the energy I'm having to put forth is contrived, then I know that I'm not aligned with my heart and my purpose and all that. So I pull back in. Like, I don't allow myself to be out unless the out is the expression of the feeling from within. And I spend a lot of time cultivating that vitality and finding that light, that source, the thing that drives me that's way bigger than me. I mean, who the hell is Pedram? That guy doesn't even matter, right? Is finding like that truth and letting that truth guide you through life, right? So I used to set a lot of goals. Now I'm just, I have big projects that I do throughout the year, or whatever, multi-year plans with books and movies and all that, and they're interesting, but I let myself follow the breadcrumbs so long as I connect with my kind of inner self and that innate wisdom in a way where I feel like that's what's driving and not some sort of hungry ghost energy that comes from some desire that's been embedded in my psyche from some TV commercial or something my parents wanted of me. You know what I mean? So it's, I'd hate to get too deep about it, but like, you have to examine the memes and the mental viruses that are driving you and wonder whether that's your heart's desire or some sort of programming that has been embedded to say you're not happy and this is going to make you happy, because that's how marketing works, and that's how we're also distracted and confused.
Okay, I'm really glad you went deep, and our show is kind of about that. I mean, we love it when you go deep, and I I want to ask you, as you're discerning this true inner voice from the noise or from the ghosts that you were describing, what can you offer our listeners in terms of differentiating those two voices, especially at this very noisy time of year where people are surrounded by resolutions, they're on Facebook, they're, they're committing to resolutions on Facebook. Like, how do you discern that sense of infinity, that inner truth from the marketing messages and the other things that we've co-opted?
That's a great question, and I think the musicians listening to us right now would get it very quickly. It's like, okay, so what's a G? You find a chord and you tune it, right, until you're like, there it is, and you get this kind of harmonic resonance with a certain note, and then once you get that, then you're like lined up, and you could kind of get all the rest of your strings together and all that, and make beautiful music. And so if you need to find it through yoga, if you need to find it through meditation, if you need to find it through nature, right? Things that are real and things that are anchored into the natural reality. If you need to find it through prayer, first find it and then start lining up the things that you're fretting about and see if they feel of the same energy or if they're from this like chaotic, neurotic, panic energy that doesn't feel right anymore, right? But first you got to do that resonant tuning, and that's why all of these practices are so important to me and so important to, the future of humanity and where we're, in danger of losing some of this is we're so out that we don't even know what it sounds like inside. And when you could find that peace through one of these myriad practices, I don't care what you do, find that way in and then use that to calibrate against all of the other noise and say, well, does this feel right or does this feel crazy? But if all you know is crazy, first you got to strike that chord and tune, and you could do that with a teacher, you could do that with meditation, and you could do that with all of the wonderful stuff that's been left behind from the ancient world and stuff we're finding in the modern world that helps us go there.
Boom. Wow, so beautiful. I feel like we've talked about true resolutions maybe today, about how to really discern what is wholly your own, what is your truth as you, kind of stand at the top of 2015 and move forward. And I really appreciate you going deep and wide, Pedram. Thank you.
Thank you. Look, I think that you and I have had a good run with this show in really talking about a lot of diseases and stuff. And this year we've committed to bringing on some different guests and really going into all sorts of different topics. So what if we're doctors? Life is way bigger than medicine, and life is the medicine. So we're going to have some fun this year, and we'd love to hear back from you guys. And, Sara just finished her book, so she gets to come out and play. And, I'm still kind of stumbling out of the Origins release and going to be writing another book, and so we're doing a lot of research and checking out really cool stuff, and we want to share a lot of that as we go. And we're meeting amazing people that are really changing the world and changing the conversation, and I think it's on us to really share that with you guys so that you can kind of get a taste of the richness of humanity and what some people are doing with their time, instead of parking up in some office and thinking that the Porsche or the house or the whatever, the purse, is the answer to all their problems. And so we'd like to expand this into kind of a meaning of life conversation that is a thread that goes through a lot of our stuff, because a lot of the ailments that we could talk about as doctors really originate in the heart not being lined up with the desires, as you'd mentioned, and us really just getting confused about where we want to go, so it doesn't feel right, so we just don't go there, and then we fail, and then we feel like failures, and it's a mess.
It is a mess. Yeah, beautiful. And we want to hear from you guys. So let us know what you think about this show. Let us know about your true resolutions. We'd love to see you on Facebook, facebook.com/The Health Bridge. And I just want to add one quick little thing, Pedram. So you're right, it's not about the Tesla, it's not about the purse, but I do like a cute purse.
You do, and you're allowed to like a cute purse, but you got to size that up in relation to things, right? Like, you work hard, you make good money, great. Buy yourself a purse. It doesn't mean much other than being a purse. But if you actually find that, you know, that purse is gonna be the one that makes those other girls love you or make the guys think you're attractive, and all the different scripts that run, which obviously you're not that person, but there's a lot of social capital that's tied in with the, you know, the subscription to the purse model that we need to question in the grand scheme of things. And nice cars are nice cars and pretty purses are pretty purses. Question is, what's your relationship with the purse? And so, you know, I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough. Okay, everybody, thanks for listening. It's Dr. Sara Gottfried with Dr. Pedram Shojai. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.